All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Trusted Tape. My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
And I, of course, am with former Cowboy scout, the greatest drafter of all time when he was in the Philadelphia Eagles organization, Bryan Broaddus of Crown Global Media. Make sure you follow him on YouTube and on Twitter, CRWN on Twitter, no O. Make sure you follow Crown Global Media everywhere. Good morning, Bryan.
Morning, Jeffrey.
I've been having a wonderful time. Senior Bowl is one of my favorite things in the world. I like the Combine. Yeah. Combine's cool. But I like when a bunch of the guys who are going to be potentially, I don't know, top 50 picks, I like when they go out there and they play football for us against other people who can play football. That makes me way happier than the Combine. But I'll be at the Combine, so I should say I like the Combine better. I like the Combine way better. It's way better. But Senior Bowl is great, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching all the practices. I love that they're on TV now, which helps me. So what I want to ask the chat today, is there anybody in the Senior Bowl that caught your eye that you want to know more about? Because that's what I use it for. When we are beginning our draft things, I don't do this year round. So I basically am going off of Dane Brugler's top 50 or top 100, Fran Duffy rankings, PFF, anybody who has draft rankings. That's kind of my starting point. And once we get to Senior Bowl, I go, oh, okay, these are guys that NFL teams are interested in. That's why they got the invite. And if there's people out here who are just whooping up on other people, they go to the top of the list. Okay. So I've prepared a list of names that at the Senior Bowl I went, ooh, that are at the top of my list. That's what I've got.
Can I ask you a question about the first one you might have?
Sure.
TJ Parker from Clemson.
Yeah, he looks, I mean,
have you seen him? Have you seen him yet on Clemson tape?
I've watched him on tape. Yeah, I know. Vach hates him. What do you think? You probably hate him.
No, not a hate. Not a hate. Just have questions about the player. Where was your? I'm interested to hear your evaluation of the player off your Clemson tape.
All right, hold on a second. Let me get my Google Docs. I should probably have my draft notes ready when we're about to start this show.
I mean, it's not a hate of the players. It really, honestly, is you're trying to kind of match where a guy's at, because what's happened is there's been some guys that if Senior Bowl showed up Senior Bowl, that have actually had look better at Senior Bowl than they did on their tape. Derek Moore from Michigan kind of could be that kind of guy too.
Yeah, he had a nice little week in Mobile, according to me. The Michigan guys kept popping. The defensive lineman in Michigan kept popping. Okay, TJ Parker, University of Clemson. And we have games watched, Boston College, SMU, and South Carolina.
Good deal.
TJ Parker, full-size edge that I describe as a power player. He has some movement skills, shows good balance and decent agility, but you're not going to call him twitched up. He's got length, and with a runway, he turns that length and his size into power, pushes the pocket. Run defense is a strength. He can hold the edge and play with extension. Nice combination of a reliable three-down player with a little bit of juice to rush the passer. As a pass rusher, wins come from power and hand usage, pursuit with awareness of where the QB is in the pocket, doesn't have big-time twitch or a big pass rush arsenal. I have him like top of the second round.
Yeah. See, that's where – and there's a lot of people that kind of feel like that's a first-round player.
I think he could be a first-round player because he's the position that he plays, and based on how it goes, like I could see him being the Cowboys pick at 20. And
would it okay, as you know, in the drafting world, we always try and like be a one-stop shop for all teams.
Yeah.
But let's focus on the Cowboys here then.
Okay.
Does he fit what you would need from a rusher from the Cowboys perspective?
I guess it depends on how you tell me they're going to line up. Are you telling me they're going to put three? I think he could do it either way. I think TJ Parker could be a stand-up if you have three down and then two outside guys. I think he could be one of those stand-ups.
I think Howell would be probably better at that if you're looking for the stand-up guy. But I understand what you're saying about Parker.
Yeah, if your priority from your pass rusher for the Cowboys is, man, I want to be able to turn this corner, and man, I want you to get off this ball. And man, if you were Gumby, that would be great. It's not necessarily TJ Parker. And so I don't think what he did at the Senior Bowl really changes his evaluation, because I think, he did a bunch of winning, but the way he won is how he wins. Like it was a bunch of long arm into the chest. It was a bunch of walk you back into the pocket. It wasn't a bunch of Von Miller smoke it around the corner kind of stuff. And so I'm pretty comfortable with how I got him. I think he's a guy that deserves to be a late first early second round kind of player.
How would you look at him as far as going up against like ACC opponents that you mentioned, the SMUs and people like that? Do you feel like against it, and I'm asking this in a way of how would you evaluate what you've seen so far from the offensive linemen at the Senior Bowl?
My guess is, because I don't know them all, my guess is that the offensive line was overmatched at the Senior Bowl by the defensive line.
Yeah.
I think there's a number of guys on the defensive line that look great. Like the next guy that I think that I would go to that jumped at me, and I went, ear muffet for the kids right now. I'm going to say a cuss word, everybody. And I went, holy shit, it's Walter Nolan again. Caleb Banks, the University of Florida D tackle, who was hurt like all year and played 2 or 3 games. And so I haven't seen the tape of those 2 or 3 games. But my God, you talk about being the size of a nose tackle with
6'6", 325, maybe.
And the reason I say the name Walter Nolan is because there's guys that, like, I'm not saying he's a Peter Woods at Clemson is a really agile big man.
Sure.
And I don't think Caleb Banks is necessarily super agile, but there is an aggressive, quick, absurd amount of violence to some of the things that he does. Just watching him at the Senior Bowl, to where Caleb Banks is now, he's top of the list. When I'm done with the DLS Cowboys podcast today, I'm going to get home, and Caleb Banks, the D tackle at Florida, is the first guy I'm going to watch. And from a Cowboys perspective, probably doesn't matter, because you have 3 $20 million D tackles. You're not picking one that's going to go in the top 50, but Caleb Banks goes to the top of the list.
Yeah, he had a foot that required surgery before the season that needs to be checked out. That's a big problem that you need to kind of look at right there. Just to make sure. But he played in the Senior Bowl. He was moving around. I mean, you're not gonna. He will be 24 years old at the start of the season. He does kind of has the length like a 5 technique end. The way you watch him play, the quickness off the ball, he can redirect, disruptive, throws blockers aside. I was watching LSU, Florida State. There's some power in the way he plays. You kind of saw that at the Senior Bowl as well. I mean, he's got some shock. He could hold blockers along the line of scrimmage. Motors, I think, good enough. He didn't quit on plays. You kind of saw that at the Senior Bowl. You see him go up and down the line of scrimmage. I just feel like it needs to be a little bit better when you watch him on his Florida tape, a little bit better knee bend and stuff, because guy gets a little tall with the way he does play. And that's when he gets in trouble. When the pad level goes up, he's not as effective as a player. And there were some times where in those games where he getting too tall or got knocked off his path and ended up on the ground. I hate when players are on the ground. Yeah. But, like I say, guy transferred from Louisville. So I could say older player, need to check the foot. But, at 6'6", 325, a lot to like about the player.
Dirk is in here on the super chat. First of all, I appreciate you, Mr. Akias. He just wanted to say Bryan and Jeff. Dirk's in the super chat. He said, am I crazy for wanting Akeem Messidor even at 20? I know he's older and has some injury stuff, but still doesn't seem like a terrible risk at 20. Akeem Messidor, defensive end, Miami. Really,
I would take
player.
Bain. If you gave me a chance to take Bain and Messidor, I'd take both of them. Yeah.
Boy, this team is we're still missing the howl. we're playing some power pass rush with that group, but we need pass rush, so I'll take it however I can get it.
No, I think that you mean with the Cowboys, and we need to see what with Christian Parker and what they're looking at and how they're going to try and marry their, are they going to be a 3-4 odd front scheme with 5-man line? You kind of feel like that, okay, well, you could use Solomon Thomas and Oso Digizua as the 5 technique guys and get some stand-up rush guys. Could Overshown be a part of this? Could you go out and, could you get, if that's the case, you're probably going to need some inside linebackers as well. And so, there's a lot of fixing that needs to be happening before we get to draft it.
Okay, speaking of inside linebackers, that takes me to who I think is going to be one of the most interesting players in this entire draft, Heisman finalist Jacob Rodriguez.
This is Zach Rowe. Zero. This is Zach Wolchuk. Zach Wolchuk, when this all got started, the process, he says, listen, you're going to tell me this guy's 6'1", he's 233 pounds. and you're going to tell him he's too small and too this, too that.
Did he measure 6'1", 233?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that moves him up for me. I thought he was going to be 5'10", 215.
No.
I thought,
No,
or no, maybe 5'11". Like I thought he was going to be small and not fast. That sucker's a player.
Oh, he's the same, basically, maybe the same size as what C.J. Allen is at Georgia, if the numbers are right, I think they're right the way they are. One of them I have an official measure on would be Rodriguez. But yeah, I mean, listen, the people that know Texas Tech football and know Big 12 football know what this guy is. This guy's one of those highly decorated defensive players in the country. Lombardi Award, I think Butkus Award. I mean, all kinds of awards for this guy. And you mentioned about the Heisman stuff and all that. Yeah, this guy is you watch his tape. I mean, he is a see ball, go get ball. Very reminiscent of linebackers they've had here in the past. I know Zach Wolchuk was like, listen, I am comfortable taking this guy at 20.
Oh, wow.
He has been adamant about that, and Zach, and listen, I respect, if you're going to do the work and you're going to put it out there, good for you. And, he's every time somebody says, oh, what about this Rodriguez? Man, I'm like, at Zach Wolchuk, because he was talking about him, when we started this thing. When we started this thing back in November, he was talking about this guy. So, it's not surprising, because if you do watch the tape, you do watch the BYUs, the Utahs, the people like that, the bigger offensive lines, he finds a way to get to the football. He really does. He's a great finisher. He's tremendous when it comes to creating turnovers. And he has a knack for seeing a loose ball in a ball carrier and just punching at it, and it gets on the ground.
Did it in the game?
Did Senior Bowl, and then he had an interception that ended the practice the other day. So, guy's always around the football. He's a really good tackler. But yeah, he's 6'1", he's 235. Some teams might get turned off by that. If not, this is going to be an interesting draft, because there's several players that are this way, that are 5'9", 185. Duke has a corner. Indiana has a corner. There are some smaller players in this draft that are really very, very talented, and teams, you're going to have to come off he's too short, too this, too that. Damn, just watch the tape. These guys all make plays.
Yeah, and too old. We got a lot of too old in this draft, which I do wonder.
That's the COVID thing got us a little bit. It kind of got us. And then the transfer portal stuff is really going to get us, because there's going to be a lot of older guys. Was it Tyler Shook last year, the quarterback that the Saints drafted? Was he like 27, 28 years old playing football?
They're not upset with the pick.
No, they're not at all. So, you mentioned Messidor. He's going to be an older guy too.
Romello Height, Texas Tech pass rusher, is going to be a 25-year-old rookie.
Four schools in his career. We're going to get to see that a lot coming up in these next few years of the draft. The portal is going to do that. These kids are turned into a little bit of some mercenaries, is what they've done.
Williams in the Super Chase said, I think free agency will have a huge impact on the draft. If you go out and buy Corvettes instead of Yugos, then BPA at 20, regardless of position. Now, that's a lot of free agency work to do, to think that you'll be able to really make it a clean drafting process. You would need to go ahead.
Let me ask you this question.
I'm ready.
And this was a question that came off our show, off the Doing All Right yesterday, from one of our fans.
Okay, come on with it.
Fan asked the question. I wish I remember the gentleman's name, but if you're listening, thank you for this question. Would you rather have the Cowboys have a great free agency period? And I'm talking about no bottom fishing. I'm talking about go get guys, or have a great draft?
That's a great question.
It is a great question.
Because a great draft can carry you, like that carries over for
Dallas needs to hit on some 5th round dudes like everybody else in the country does.
Well, they used to do it. They used to have their secondary was 2/3 of guys like Xavier Woods and Anthony Brown were 5 and a 6, and they were 4-year starters.
I know they used to hit on those guys. They used to hit on 5th round dudes that, like, if you didn't hit on the 2nd round dude, everybody else was kind of covered. So
much like every other question in the world, Brian, the answer to that question has 2 answers. It has 2 answers.
No, don't play the hot dog or the bun. Don't play that. Answer the damn question. Is it going to be? Is
a hot dog bun? I think it's a hot dog too.
No, it's not. It doesn't. It's not the hot dog or the bun, Jeffrey.
Let me ask you a question about your question.
No. Answer the question. Asked you a question. Would you like to see, and folks in the chat, if you want to chime in, because Jeff's not answering questions today, chime in. Would you rather them be great in free agency this period or great in drafting for this period? Which one do you want?
I would rather.
You can only pick one.
I would rather they be.
Oh
great.
God, here's some terrible answer.
Well, I would rather they be great in the draft.
Why is that?
I would rather they be great in the draft. Oh, now I get to use nuance, huh? I would rather they be great in the draft because I think that carries over for 4 years and for some of those guys even more. And in free agency, that's not necessarily true. So the way that I was going to answer your question that wasn't allowed was if you're talking about the Super Bowl this year, I'd rather they be great in free agency. If you are talking about the next half decade, I'd rather they be great in the draft. Now, here's the good news.
Oh, you just went right down the middle again.
It's easier to be great in free agency. You know who these players are. They've already played in the NFL. All you have to do is open the freaking wallet, Jera. Told us you couldn't afford Micah Parsons, but he's like, but we can't afford 320 million D tackles. George Pickens at 30-something, and boy, we can have.
You can afford who you want. You can afford.
Yeah, it sounds like you were lying about who you couldn't afford before, partner.
It's not the first time. It's not the first time they've lied to us. Come on, man.
What was your answer?
I said free agency.
Well, what are you doing? Because you're trying to win the Super Bowl.
I'm trying. Like I said, to me, I've seen him draft well and not get anywhere.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point.
I mean, the one thing that people will say, and people are going after Will McClay, and that's cool. Will McClay's got big shoulders. He can handle it. The thing with Will McClay is that you're in a situation where, you're trying to serve so many different masters, whether it's the Joneses, coaches, the scouts. He's probably going to be in the same way having to get Christian Parker some players, So to me, I've seen him draft well. I've seen him sign their own. I've seen him also win 7 games. You need to go out and do some damage in free agency.
Big Business 3477. Don't crucify me. Rodriguez is Sean Lee with a mustache. I like Rodriguez. I think I had him as a 3rd round guy. And if those Senior Bowl measurements are 6'1", 233, I mean, I think that helps him. I think that's good for him.
Let me make sure, Jeffrey. I mean, I got him.
No. If you wrote that down, you got it. I didn't look for his measurements. I didn't see it. I was just watching the practices. But I think that turns him into a 2nd round player, and I think that's good for him. Weak Sizzle is in the super chat. Really appreciate you and Bryan's work. I'm tired of us disregarding the safety position. Is Tienneman from Oregon at play for pick 20, depending on free agency? He's an absolute missile, and I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And you can tell him today. I'll tell you tomorrow. Today's safety day for Jeffrey.
Today. Listen, man, there's a lot of safeties in this draft. This is one of those drafts where people are going to go out there and they're going to look and they're going to see, and everybody's trying to find the guy that Nick Amanawari that went, South Carolina, went to Seattle using him. We've seen Detroit use guys. We've seen all these teams, Baltimore. We've seen teams take big time weapon safeties and do good things with them. And this is actually a pretty good class where I think that you're lacking offensive tackles and such. Just looking at other positions, we have a great history of offensive tackles being way up the board, and maybe kind of not paying attention to other positions. And I'm just saying this, the safety one is the one you need to pay attention to. This kid, Nick Thieneman, was transferred from Purdue. He's an outstanding open field player. When you watch him, he's as sure a tackler as you're going to see in this draft. He's impressive with the athletic profile for the position. He's explosive. He's got a closing burst. When he plays downhill, he's going to finish. He can put himself in positions to make plays. He's not the type of player that's going to get fooled. You don't see him like running one direction and the ball going the other. He does a really nice job of breaking on the ball, coming forward, just getting the job done. Drive through the contact point when he plays. He's always kind of looking for the game-changing turnover. Saw it a couple different times. You can see this guy, he just loves to compete and he loves to tackle. And I think the way he cover ground and do all the things I just talked about, it's be interesting to see because the height we're working on right now is 6'2", 205. I wonder if teams are going to say something about that, but man, just watch the damn tape again. The guy makes every single play, and he did when he was at Purdue, and he does when he's at Oregon. I really, really like the guy. I got him in the second round, and I would not be surprised he went to the bottom of the first. Not at all.
Good, because we need all the safeties. We need about 6 of them suckers. So I'll take them all. Other names, Bryan, that I have from the Senior Bowl. Notre Dame wide receiver Malachi Fields. I was not familiar with his fine work, and that looked like the best wide receiver out there. Boy, I like the work he was doing. You're talking about full size wide receiver that is winning at kind of every level, physical, making himself room underneath, able to still win deep, able to go up and get it. Malachi Fields has moved to the top of the watch list for Jeffrey. Just want to throw that name out there.
Gotcha.
He's not the only wide receiver either. Ted Hurst from Georgia State and Tyron Montgomery from John Carroll.
Can you tell me where John Carroll College is located?
It's in Ohio, Bryan.
What part of Ohio?
I don't know, but I looked it up yesterday and I saw it was in Ohio, and then I stopped
Cleveland,
looking.
Ohio. Don Shula. It's Don Shula's school.
Oh, I believe you.
I also think that who was our linebacker from the Commanders back in the day? Gosh dang. Little short guy. He's a broadcaster. Look it up real quick while I'm vamping here. Washington Commanders broadcaster that's a linebacker. Why I hate this. This
London Fletcher.
London Fletcher. I think London Fletcher went to school with John Carroll. Yeah.
Oh, he sure did. He played for the John Carroll Blue Streaks. Yeah. So yeah, we got 2 small school wide receivers, which is harder to do in today's Senior Bowl. I'll tell you that right now, because a lot of the smaller school guys get found by the bigger schools, and you can just transfer whenever you want. So a lot of them get transferred up. But Ted Hurst,
that's Elijah Surratt from Indiana. Is that way? I mean, he went to some little school like some St. Francis, and then he ended up at JMU, and then out at Indiana. So yeah, sometimes you start at the little school.
Second best receiver prospect on Indiana, according to Jeff. Elijah Surratt.
You want Cooper the best, huh?
I like Cooper better. I like Cooper better. I think it's cleaner transition. I know what I'm getting with Cooper. Get the ball in his hands and watch him work a little bit. And with Surratt, it's like we're running back shoulder fades, huh? All right. I like getting open, and if you're not going to get open, I like you to raise hell after the catch. You know what I'm saying? So those 3 wide receivers. Shout out a local guy, TCU safety Bud Clark.
Bud Clark's look good
at the Senior Bowl practices. Twitter told me that he doesn't have great tape this year. I'll figure that out as I go. But I thought that Bud Clark did himself a little bit of a service at the Senior Bowl. Zion Young at Missouri, that also does go into the offensive line, seemed a little overmatched in this bad boy. You know what?
He can rush. He can rush. I mean, the guy can rush. I felt like that he rushed better. I felt like there was some better rushes than the guys we were talking about earlier, Parker and stuff like that. I felt like there was some more bendy play, better pass rush. If you watch the tape, I had Young too low. I've got Young too low. I go back in the notes and I'm like, why'd I put him in the 3rd round? He's a 2nd round player. My notes make him sound like he's a lot better than that.
Yeah. I watched him on accident because like a month or 2 ago, whenever mock drafts started coming out, somebody from ESPN mocked a Missouri pass rusher to the Cowboys in the 1st round. So I went and watched Missouri, and I was like, did they just type in the wrong name? Because this guy over here is better. Zion's a nice player. Now, Bryan, call me crazy on this one. I welcome it. I thought Nussmeier looked good. Yeah. I mean, it's 3 days of Senior Bowl practice, but especially yesterday on day 3 of it, like they had some miscommunications where a receiver went the wrong way. But if you were talking about see it, be decisive, be quick with it, be accurate with it, I thought Doug Nussmeier looked really good.
Yeah. Garrett.
Which Doug's
the dad.
Nussmeier.
Yeah,
I
Doug's
thought
the
Doug
dad.
looked good too because they interviewed him on the field during the practice, so I did
Oh,
get
wow.
to see Doug.
Yeah, he's
But
coaching the Saints.
I thought Garrett Nussmeier looked good.
Yeah, unfortunately for LSU, a lot of it came down on him with the season. He got hurt late and had like a core problem. He couldn't recover. He played through a lot of injuries and stuff like that. He came back with the hope. LSU was favored to be a team that was going to be in the playoffs, and 7 wins, $30 million later, no, they're not in the playoffs. And Nussmeier didn't even finish the season. But a lot was blamed on him for the way they played offensively. If you really, really want to watch him play well, watch his tape from last year. Because if he'd have come out last year, it might have been a little bit of a different story. He was projected to be a guy that talked about in the first round. Someone's going to get a really good quarterback. The thing about it is, like I said, he's got this knack for making a turnover at the wrong time. And that's kind of one of those, like, why are you trying to force that throw in there? But he's got talent, man. He's smart, he's tough, but he's decision-making at times really will struggle.
All right. Screw you, Nuss. Hold on. Let me see if there's anybody else on my list that I hadn't told you yet. Indiana's running back, a little built in there, dude. Little power runner. I thought he looked good at the Arizona State right tackle. Arizona State right tackle wasn't.
If you can pronounce the name, let me know.
Hold on a second. Arizona State right tackle NFL draft. His name's Max, I think.
Yeah.
Former Arizona State standout. Here we go. Click on this. I'm going to get him. No problem. I'm all over it, Brian. Watch me work.
Yeah.
His name, of course. Hey, in the article, how about his name? Here we go. Max.
Begins with an I, doesn't it?
Iron Acre.
Yeah.
Iron Acre.
Yeah. I know. I know who you're talking about, man. The guy's got some feet. He's got,
These feet, and he was yapping people. Is that a word?
No.
Yapping?
Yeah. The Jennings Dunker from Iowa looked good in some drill stuff. Carver Willis from Washington, I thought, was another tackle that played some guard, looked good. Lee Hunter from Texas Tech.
Yeah, Lee Hunter.
I thought looked really good. Zane Durant is a short, I don't know where you play him type of a guy from Penn State. He's 6'1", he's 290 pounds. He could be a 3. He's probably playing a 1. He's super active. We've seen Colton Hood play well. We've mentioned Jacob Rodriguez and the way he played. Those were the national players I kind of saw. You mentioned Malachi Fields from Notre Dame. Jake Slaughter, the center from Florida, a little bit undersized at 305 pounds. I thought had some nice reps with on the one-on-one stuff. Didn't get beat up as bad as I thought he might because he's 305 pounds. J.C. Davis is a guard from Illinois, 6'4", 335, really powerful guy. When you watch him play, you can watch him against the Ohio States and, go against McDonald and people like that, and he did a pretty solid job. Kieran Crawford from from Auburn, 6'4", 251. I thought he had some really good pass rushes in the one-on-one stuff. And Gabe Jacobs from Illinois, another guy, number 52. I thought there was
Yakis. I think the J isn't even.
Is it Yakis? Okay,
Yakis.
yeah,
Yakis.
6'3", 260. And I thought he had some good reps as well. So when you're talking about Yakis, he's a guy that he looks really, really, really good on tape physically, and doesn't always play like he looks. But in the Senior Bowl, seemed to have found a little something as a pass rusher.
Love it. Make sure you're following Crown Global Media. Check me out on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. And also, if you're a business owner out there or you have connections and you know how to sell digital and you'd like to sponsor Trust the Tape or help sell Trust the Tape, why don't you just hit me up? How about that? Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through. Be cool to everybody. We love you. Be easy.